Hey, G, friends. Welcome to another what's going to be a great session of Dev and Tell. If you didn't know what Dev and Tell is, Dev and Tell is a 30-minute window where members of the DAO showcase something they're passionate about or have been working on. This could be an awesome project you've been working on, demonstrating unit test best practices, automation goodies, smart contracts, how to structure a project, and so on and so forth. Basically, if you got a passion for something, this is your opportunity to share it with the community. And today I am happy to have Justin on board presenting his DataBeasts project. So, Justin, whenever you're ready, uh, the stage is yours. Here we go.
Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Narb, for hosting Dev and Tell. Your work is very much appreciated.
My pleasure.
So I will go ahead and be demonstrating DataBeasts in three parts to this presentation. Number one will be what are DataBeasts? Secondly will be what I built for the project. And number three will be the future of the application. So if we go ahead and click the About button, we can see that it says that DataBeasts are digital creatures powered by the Tezos blockchain. So specifically, this is a 3D art NFT collection, which is minted on the Tezos blockchain by my good friend and 3D artist, Nem Mac. So some background on Tezos is that it is a proof of stake blockchain, which, like many competitors to Ethereum as layer one chains, it has low gas fees and fast transactions. Something that sets Tezos a bit apart from the others, I would say, and this is a subjective point, but many in the Tezos space do agree on this, it's that the artist community is a lot more tight-knit and it's a bit more, it has a bit more effort put into showcasing underground artists and their contributions to Tezos art. So we've actually been seeing a number of prolific Ethereum collectors coming to Tezos recently, and that's been really exciting for the space. So we can see the database if we go to the shop, which I have open here. This right here is objkt.com, and it displays all of the DataBeasts. This is a public marketplace for NFTs minted on Tezos. And there's some things that we notice straight away. First of all, some beasts have a blue background, and some have a green, some have a purple, some have an orange. Basically, there are different tiers to these DataBeast rarity. The blue ones have additions ranging from anywhere from 15 to 50. The purple beast have additions ranging from 10 to 15. Oranges are 5, and greens are 3, of which there is only one, which is DataBeast number 80, Cypress. So if we go ahead and take a look at Cypress, we can see that it's being listed for 5,000 Tez. It has an offer for 1,000 Tez. Just some reference here, one Tez as of now is worth about $3.90. And something that we notice is that it displays the words, and I may be mispronouncing this, but it's hic et nunc. This is the name of the contract which DataBeasts are minted on. Hic et nunc, which is often abbreviated to just HEN, is a marketplace as well, which allows users to mint on. And so the DataBeast collection is minted on HEN rather than its own personal contract, at least for now. So this is what the project looks like. And by the way, that HEN contract, it follows what's called an FA2 contract standard. You could think of it as similar to ERC 721 and ERC 1155. It's probably closer to ERC 1155 on Ethereum, simply because it allows for the multiple editions of a token. So this is what the beasts are. Now let's take a look at what I built for the project. which is this application we see here. It's a web app, and it is built with Next.js and via extension of Next.js, React.js, and TypeScript. And it also uses the component library Chakra UI. And this is all deployed using Vercel. My reasoning for using this tech stack was because I wanted to optimize most of all for speed of deployment. I didn't want to have to spend too much time on boilerplate code. And so this was really easy to just create a Next app and deploy it to Vercel. I also wanted to optimize for learning. This is a tech stack that I don't have much experience with. And so it was really exciting to see what I was capable of. So the purpose of this web application is simply to allow users to connect their Tezos wallet, view their DataBeasts collection, and be able to share that collection with anyone else. So you could kind of think of it as Instagram for your DataBeast. And I'm sorry, by the way, I can hear someone's background. I'm not sure if you're capable of muting that, whoever it is. But so yeah, the three features of this application are to connect your wallet, view your DataBeast collection, and be able to share that collection with anyone. This is particularly useful because DataBeasts are collectible creatures and people like to trade them. So being able to show your collection to other people easily is definitely a feature that people wanted in the community. So my wallet is already connected, and I'd rather not resync it simply for privacy reasons. I don't want to expose my wallet information. Although if you go here, which is another window of the application, and I press the sync button, this is what it looks like when you sync. You get to choose your wallet. This is powered by what's called the Beacon SDK, which is the communication layer between decentralized applications on Tezos and the Tezos blockchain itself. So you could choose your wallet here, and Kakai wallet, I would say, is the most popular, at least within our DataBeasts community. It's a browser wallet, and it works fairly well. The user experience is good on desktop. If you go on mobile, it does get a bit finicky, but on desktop, it works just great. So my wallet is connected, and I can press view. It is loading my beasts, and this right here is my collection that I can scroll down, and we see all kinds of fun, cute GIFs of these 3D models. And there are many of them, different colors. You can see that the color of the card is dependent on the color of the beast's background, because remember, all we're getting from the NFT is the GIF. So the card layout is part of the web application's aesthetic. So we can see that it displays this information. It says justinsing.tez collection. So that .tez domain is similar to the Ethereum name service, where users on Tezos can proclaim a domain respective to the Tezos blockchain, and it allows for better reading of their otherwise difficult to read public addresses. So my public address has a Tezos domain record of justinsing.tez. And a lot of people in the community have Tezos domains. It is cheaper and more accessible than ENS on the Tezos blockchain simply because the gas fees are lower. And so it displays the total number of beasts in my collection and the number of distinct beasts. Distinct meaning that's the number of unique beasts in this collection, because there are some duplicate beasts that I have, as in 2 editions of certain beasts. We can sort this collection. Defaults is by newest. We can sort by oldest, by a number of editions. So this is from low to high. So this is the most rare beast that I have, for example. The oranges are 5 out of 5. And then it displays my 10 out of 10 beasts. and the rest range from 15 to 50. We could do the opposite, additions high to low. Beast number 50 has 50 additions. It's the highest addition beast. And then we could do quantity owned, which the lowest is 1, and quantity owned high to low, which would be the beast that I have some duplicates of. So this is what a user sees when they go ahead and connect to this application and view their collection. You can also click right here to copy your collection URL and then share it with others. So now the next question would be, where is all this data coming from? So first off, let's take a look at the token's metadata. This is what we see in the token's metadata if you were to query information on just the token itself. What you would get for any one beast is its name, which is where the number is included. The number is not a different field. So we see the name, the description, which is just, again, its name. We see tags, which is a unique attribute when minting on the hen contract. Its symbol, which is OBJKT, that is when you mint a hen NFT. Its symbol, what it's referred to as, is an object, OBJKT, and it has IPFS URIs to the GIF itself. It has its creator, which is the user, the public address of the user who minted this. So this is the public address for the DataBeasts account. And so it shows the MIME type, and that's pretty much what it shows. However, if you see here, we have a bit more information than that. We have, for example, the number of editions. We're able to tell the color of the GIF in order to choose which card it gets rendered with. And so that's not in the metadata. So in order to get that information, and in order to get all the information from one user, which database they specifically own, we use an indexer. And so indexers, if you're not aware, are simply aggregated data from the blockchain, which gets updated regularly, and it's an easy way for users to query data on the blockchain in a way that can be relational and can be done through a GraphQL API, such as is this case. So this is the query that I use. In this case, it's hard-coded to use my public address, but obviously in the code, it's using the public address of whoever's collection you're looking at. And so from here, we're able to get a hen token holder, which is equal to the address given, and we get the quantity, and then we get the token, which includes the fields that I showed you from the token's metadata. And so this returns to me all of the beasts that I own and the data that I need, except for one field, which you may have noticed is the color that's still not there. And that's being done within the application's code. It's checking the supply of the token, the number of editions for the token, and based on that, it determines its rarity. That is not always the best way to do it, because there are some blue beasts which have 15 editions and some purple beasts which also have 15 editions, and this is subject to change in the future as well. So I have an improvement that I'd like to make to the application, which I will mention later, but that's currently how the data is being pulled. Also, we are using another GraphQL API for the Tezos domains. I do have backup code if that query fails. And in that case, it reads from the Tezos domain smart contract storage itself, which is a map data structure. And it uses that to get an address's mapping to a domain or the reverse. That is slower to read directly from the contract storage. So I prefer to use the public GraphQL API. There are limitations to that, obviously. such as availability of the API. So another change that I made compared to what you get from the token and what's being rendered here is the image itself. If you query the image stored on IPFS using ipfs.io or some of the other mirrors of that, you get a 1080 by 1080 image. And for collections that have so many beasts such as this, that's a lot of data. Our largest token holder, I was testing on his collection, and to simply render his collection, we were sending about 500 megabytes to the user. And that's just not really acceptable in my opinion. So we ended up resizing a lot of these images and storing them locally to the project. And only if that beast is not stored locally to the project already is then when it uses the full resolution 1080 by 1080 GIF. Otherwise, we don't use it, but if a beast just came out and it's not yet on the server, then it will use IPFS to get that beast GIF. And if we are looking at this on mobile, it then displays the beast in a 2x2 grid where the GIFs are also an even lower resolution so that on mobile we're not taxing our users too much. So I already went over the card design in terms of its color. So there's different colors based on rarity. These are all front-end assets, by the way. The GIFs and images, they are all provided by NAM, the creator of this project. And so it displays the number of the beast, which is parsed from its title in the token. You can see its number of editions and the name of the beast. And it has this nice styling to it, which was hard to replicate in using just CSS. Initially, we had a purely CSS rendering of what the cards look like, but there were limitations to that, and I did not have time to really figure out what is the best way to make notches, such as you see going into the GIF, to make these nice curves around the card name area. I was finding that difficult to do with just CSS, so I chose to simply say, hey, we can just use a image itself and position the values relative to the image. So that's what's being done here. Now, next up, I'd like to talk about future features for the application. I split this into 3 parts, so very, very brief. So there's 3 different parts of the future of this application. Number 1 is the infrastructure improvements to the application. Then we have collection features, and then we have interaction features. So in terms of infrastructure improvements, a big one is that I want to implement a database which has its data updated via a ETL process, which is extract, translate, load. We may be moving to an individual personalized contract for a database. And so we would be pulling data from different sources, and we want that data to be in a uniform structure so that the token metadata doesn't clash, and that we can have one reliable place to say this is where the data for a beast is, and it's consistent in its structure. There's also some streaming that we can do for contract updates. So I'm looking into that. So we can stream just the updates to contracts that we are interested in and have that update our database values. Our database will reduce points of failure so we don't have to rely on the indexers as much. And it will also store user collection data, such as which beasts users want to trade. So very often people link their collection and they're like, I want to trade this and that beast. But we want a way for users to be able to mark those beasts within the application. And so we need to store that data somewhere, and I'd like to do that in a database. And there's plenty of different features that can be added onto this, which would benefit from a database. So collection features in the future, like I said, mark the beast that you want to be traded. There's another interesting one that someone proposed, which is to estimate a collection's value. Recently, we've been seeing prices spike quite a bit, And so some users have been interested in figuring out computationally, just on the fly, what is the value of my collection now? So there are some APIs I can hit to get the most recent offer or the highest offer on a beast. And then we could simply sum those for your collection and be like, this is an estimate of how much your collection is worth. And I think that's interesting data. Perhaps not something we want to render on the front end because it may make the project look more centric on financial value, and we're not really interested on that in that. The focus is definitely on the art first. So, and thirdly would be interaction features. So right now I'm looking into the library 3JS to render these beasts in a 3D environment using their 3D models and have ways for users to interact with them. This is used with GLB file types provided by Nam himself. And we want it just to be something casual, cute, fun for our users to have. And we are very much in the principle of under promising and hopefully over delivering. A lot of NFT projects in the space, they have an elaborate roadmap, which is hard to promise, hard to keep up with. And we don't do roadmaps. We simply are building for the fun of it, and our users are enjoying it. And it's a beautiful thing to see the community come together. So I see that we have about 5 minutes left before the DAO town hall. So I will stop right here and take questions if we have any.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. I'm really digging the art and the retro vibes. Kind of gives me
Mm-hmm.
a Pokemon or Digimon kind of
Yep.
throwback, and I love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions for Justin? I guess one question I have, or a couple, is
Mm-hmm.
what inspired you to go the Tezos route, and whether or not people can contribute to this project with you and
Right, sure. So Tezos, that was a decision by Nam. That wasn't my decision. However, it was because he was seeing a lot of artists in his circle gravitate towards Tezos. It's more of an underground art scene, which he believes has, and others in the scene believe has a higher quality of art, I guess you could say. Of course, it's subjective, but when you go on OpenSea and you scroll through the art projects, you'll see a lot of things that are kind of similar to each other. The space is a bit diluted, I would say. Of course, there's wonderful projects all across all chains, but on Tezos, there's a lot of emphasis on unique art projects that are a bit different in flavor and maybe edginess than other projects, than other chains. So that was the reason. And if anyone would like to contribute to this project, I highly recommend you join the Discord, which you can do from the front page of our website. And you can get in touch with me there. This is open source, although code is public, and there are items that we could use help with. So you totally could do that. Just get in contact with me through the Discord, and we could kick it off from there.
awesome stuff. Jose had a question from the chat. He's asking,
Mhm.
uh, you want to use a database. What options are you considering? Centralized?
Right. So as of now, I am thinking a centralized database. And from the outset, that might seem like, okay, this goes against the decentralized philosophy of Web3. However, the underlying data would still be decentralized as it would rely on the index data from a blockchain. Um, Having it centralized simply gives me more control, and that is something I'd like experience with as a developer to implement my own database. Decentralized options for storing data is also just something that I haven't considered very much, but if there's recommendations for that, I would love to consider it. But as of now, I'm looking into centralized database options, relational databases such as maybe PlanetScale or other popular options interest me right now, and there's something I'd like to work with.
Cool, cool. Anybody else have any questions for Justin? Got a couple minutes left here.
If there's there's no questions. I guess I'll just end this by saying something, which is I think that creating applications for NFT art communities is an excellent way to enter Web3, simply because there's so many art projects and their consumers, those who love the art, really want more out of the art in terms of utility. It's something that people ask a lot about. And so if you can build that, you will have a very useful position in a community that will care about what you're creating. And so it's an instant way to have users just by creating something on top of what someone else has created, which is the spirit of Web3 to have composability like that. And so it was a great experience for me to get in touch with the database community and really become a member of it and build this for the community. And I hope that maybe Tezos gets some more attention from people watching this, and maybe you'll develop something on there, or you'll at least take a look at the art, which there are many underground artists there for cheap, affordable prices, and the gas fees are low. So I highly recommend taking a look.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Love this, and thank you so much for sharing this project and how you went about making it come to fruition. This is what
Mhm.
Devintel is all about. Oh yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So we're at time. So we'll call it here. Um, so thank you again, Justin. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend, and we will see you here next week with Jose and Vinny showing their NF Jeans project. Should be interesting to see. And there is a POAP for attendance here. I'll share it through Google Sheets. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the Deacon bot to work, but no worries. And Justin, I will get in touch with you for your POAP and some information for the YouTube upload. And with that, I will stop the recording.